Okay, it's official. We're a nation of silent worriers. Research carried out by the website ReallyWorried.com claims we spend on average 34 days of the year worrying. Almost 40% of us don't tell a soul what's bothering us.
Money worries are the top concern this year. Last year it was personal health.
16 to 24-year-olds fret the most, not about saving the planet, but whether they'll ever be able to afford a house. Well, Richard Rubin is the founder of the Really Worried website, and he's here. Good morning to you. Why did you set up ReallyWorried.com?
I'm sorry, why or when?
Why?
I recognise through my own personal circumstance that people need a place to worry anonymously and to seek advice as a stepping stone to sometimes seeking professional advice. Often people use online, they use Google, for example, will type in what they're worried about, and what they're going to get is millions of irrelevant links through to sites that aren't going to help them solve the problems.
So what do they get from your website? And you say it was a personal experience, so you're a worrier, are you?
I've gone through my whole life being a worrier, yes, but based on today's findings on the worry index, I'm not alone. We are a nation of silent worriers. A huge amount of us are spending 2 hours, 15 minutes a day fretting. That's up 30 minutes on last year. And it's not surprising. And what's most interesting is the shift in pattern from last year when I was sat here launching Really Worried. I was sat with Dermot and we were talking about Brits are worried about knife crime, global warming, ASBOs, getting on the property ladder. If you look at today's top 10 that we've released, 6 out of 10 are all finance related.
But
Cost of living,
that's obviously not surprising. And it's,
not at all.
When you look at it, it's the global issues, as you say, such as global warming, that really go out the window. When people have got money issues, it comes right down to what's happening in the home. And then, as you say, it's very difficult for people to perhaps talk about that because they know it's going to impact. I have a very good friend who can't tell his wife the troubles that he's in terms of the business because he knows it will impact on her and their children. So he's having to shoulder that burden. It's awful to see. I
actually live in Manchester, which seems to be the debt capital of the country. In fact, the northwest region has the biggest worriers with debt problems. Interestingly, I've partnered with what I believe to be the best debt advice company in the country.
So let's take us through. People are sitting at home. A lot of people are worried at the moment about money. What's the advice and what can you offer on the?
Okay.
I mean, there's lots of websites, of course. But
there's lots of places to go for quote unquote debt advice, but debt advice is not necessarily, you're not necessarily going to get the best advice.
But first, I must talk about what you're worrying about.
Talk about it. The hardest thing to do is admit, whether it's debt or whether it's alcoholism, admit you have a problem. Talk to somebody. If you can talk to somebody, if you can offload your worry, it's far more difficult to carry on fretting. But talking about debt, there's a huge demand out there for a service for people to seek realistic debt advice that's going to guarantee a solution that's workable. I work closely with a company called Clear Debt, who we've partnered to launch Really Worried About Debt. Same premise as ReallyWorried.com, but specifically there to help people with debt problems. And unfortunately, debt issues, the way most people react to them, they zip it, they bottle up the problems, they don't tell the partners.
I think, especially at the moment, isn't it? There's a saying, isn't there, have the strength to change what you can, the wisdom to know what you can't, or something like that. It's a very... Anyway, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.